Hello, good day to you. Another walking live today. I seem to be in the zone of them at the moment. So, I wanted to talk about what to do if you think you have an intolerance to certain foods. The most obvious thing is to take them out of your eating, your diet, so you don't eat them anymore. But it can be a bit tricky to pinpoint these foods down. And the reality is, if you have got an intolerance to certain foods, or you have built up some sort of intolerance over time, and we're talking intolerance here, not allergy, two very different things. So if you think that certain foods are irritating your system, basically, then and I think that can happen over a period of time. I've had clients who have had a lot of dairy in their diet in the past, and a lot of wheat, and I do sometimes, although I don't have any scientific proof, wonder if there's something in the amount you eat at certain points. But anyway, that's just me, my thing. What you want to know is what to do. So if you're really not sure, the most obvious things to do to start with is to take gluten and dairy out of your diet, because they're the most obvious culprits, if you like. Now, you may have already had a go at doing this, but if you do it, it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of honesty and some kick-ass. Because I had a previous client who had been gluten and dairy intolerant for a number of years, and when I started working with her, she was like, I need to lose weight, I need to do all of this kind of stuff. So we worked on that, but it turned out she was still eating quite a lot. She was still cheating, basically. And the thing is, if you've got an intolerance, you can't really cheat, because your body will tell you. And it does stop you being able to lose weight or feel fit or healthy, because at the end of the day, your body's in overdrive because it's intolerant to certain foods. But anyway, so the first culprit's really gluten and dairy. And you can go, there's plenty now of gluten and dairy-free options, but you've still got to watch what you're eating, because at the end of the day, there's still a lot of processed, not so great gluten and dairy foods out there. And that could be the thing that is irritating your system, because there's a lot of things with chemicals in. Now, I'm a big believer in aiming to eat as much unprocessed food as possible. And by focusing on that naturally takes out a lot of irritant foods and chemicals and different things that may affect you. Now, you can, as I say, the first step really is to take gluten and dairy out and see how that impacts. Now, you have to give that some time, because these things don't right themselves overnight. You really do you'll notice the benefit straight away, but you do need to give it some time. Now, I've got a client who took gluten and dairy out a long time ago, well, 12 months, 18 months ago, and then she's discovered that she can still have butter. Butter is not something that irritates her, and she has odds. She started to have a little bit and sort of take a risk every now and then. And sometimes it's irritated her, but that's helping her pinpoint what it is in the gluten and dairy family that really is the problem. Because, we do a whole strike thing, but it may not be. Like, a lot of people, for example, have problems with cow's milk products, but not goat's milk products, or vice versa. Other things that can irritate, especially if you've got an inflammatory condition like arthritis, are things that are in the more acidic range. So like fruits, tomatoes, that kind of stuff. And again, with all of that, it's experimenting. I mean, you have to face the consequences. Try taking it all out, and then looking at whether cooked things are worse or better, and all of that. Now, I have a problem with egg white, I have discovered, although I'm at the moment trying to bring myself to try duck eggs to see if it's the same issue. So I was finding I was feeling really sick after eating egg, like scrambled egg and things like that. And I've never ever, as a kid, I didn't like egg white. And egg white can be something that somebody is a little bit kind of sensitive to. But I can eat egg pasta and I can eat cake as long as don't go too balmy. So I can have a Yorkshire pudding, but I have to sort of watch the amounts and the levels of what I'm eating. So it's that kind of thing really, and it's experimenting. And it's really, as I say, I mean, the first step really is to do gluten and dairy because that's an easy one. But when it comes, and to focus on unprocessed foods, because that really does help, because then when you do have something processed, your body will be already quite clean and you'll go, that's irritating me. Because there are things like monosodium glutamate, which I can't remember what the blooming an acronym is for that, MCG. But anyway, you know that a lot of it's a salt that is in monosodium glutamate, MSG. There we go, got there in the end. That is in a lot of different foods, especially in Chinese type foods. So the reality is, it's an experimental approach. That's how you find out if you're intolerant. And it's, you know, when a scientist does an experiment, they start off with a hypothesis. So they start off with an assumption that they're going to test. And that's the key really, is to test your assumption. Don't cloud it with lots of different variables. Make sure you're just like doing one thing at a time and giving it enough time to be able to actually take. Because that's really the key. If you think you're intolerant to something, at the end of the day, some people will continue to take the risk and will continue to eat that food because they love it so much. But then it's about realising what impact it's having on your body. So if you want any help with this, do get in touch and have a fabulous day.